Hey, I'm Markia.
Want to hear something scary? Whispers that bite. At schools, there's a sound that never quite goes away. It can linger everywhere you turn, haunting the halls and even following you home. For years, a towering schoolhouse had ushered new students like Chris into its dimly lit brick halls. No matter where Chris went in the sprawling school, a classroom, the cafeteria, even the library, Chris heard chattering and whispers about her. Hushed gossip taunted and sniped at her from around every corner. Every mean word buzzed in her ears and repeated over and over in her head. This went on for weeks, until one day, Mrs. Abate, the school counselor, called Chris into her office. "You seem to be having trouble with your transition to our school," Mrs. Abate pointed out. As she listened, Chris noticed the counselor tugging at her high-collar blouse that almost hid a series of small pitted scars along her neck. "I'm not very well liked here," Chris admitted. "Everyone is always talking about me, whispering behind my back. As hard as it is, don't listen. Our school is a very special place," Mrs. Abate replied. "But you are more than what people say you are. Block the whispers out. Don't let them get under your skin." That night, Chris sat at home, scrolling through her phone. A post by a classmate, Ryan, caught her eye. It was about Chris, referring to her as a poor, know-it-all, ugly monster, saying Chris didn't belong at their school. Poor, know-it-all, ugly monster. For a stunned moment, Chris sat in the shame of those words. They hissed and lingered with her, just like the whispers she heard in school. Chris kept scrolling. Other students had commented, adding their own nasty words to the thread. The chorus of cruel buzzing grew with every new comment. Were they right? Was she somehow gross? A monster? Ow! Something bit the tip of Chris's thumb. She watched as an angry red welt swelled and rose. The heck was that? Chris looked around frantically for a bug. All at once, Chris felt sharp pricks along her arms. Something was biting her over and over. The buzzing roared. Chris clawed at the bumps appearing along her hands, on the back of her arms, desperate to stop the itch. Was it spiders, bed bugs? She couldn't find what they were, where they were coming from. Chris could only feel them, pinching, burrowing beneath her skin, spreading, misshaping her arms with grotesque red peaks. Chris scratched. Her scratching turned frenzied, skin tearing and bleeding beneath the tug of her nails. Catching sight of herself in the mirror, Chris stared at herself in horror. "I am a monster." She spun away from her deformed reflection, believing every horrible thing they had said. On her phone, the comments kept coming. The whispers buzzed on. The next day at school, Chris showed up in long sleeves. She'd woken up with her arms and legs covered in oozing sores. A few had even spread to her neck. Ashamed, Chris slumped to her desk. Around her, classmates shot glances her way, turning to one another to whisper. A giggle caught Chris's attention. Ryan, mouth scowling in disgust, was gesturing to Chris's rash-riddled neck. Chris tugged her shirt up, trying to hide her sores from view. She thought of Mrs. Abate's own high collar and remembered her words. Chris had let the whispers upset her, she realized. This school was a special place indeed. But I am more than what people say about me, she reminded herself. Across the room, Ryan giggled again. The hum of the whispers grew. Chris's shoulders straightened. She stood up. "Speak up," she demanded over the growing buzz permeating the air. Ryan stopped giggling. "Excuse me? Speak up." Chris planted herself firmly. "If you were saying something kind, you wouldn't need to whisper." For a moment, the buzzing faltered. "Why do you need to hide your face behind a computer screen?" The class, ooh, looking at the two. Ryan paled as gossip started buzzing around her. Suddenly crying out, something bit her mouth. A red bump growing on her face, then another, spreading. The buzz growing stronger this time. Then all around Ryan, classmates turned to one another, exchanging whispers all about Ryan. Within the mania of the gossip, it didn't stop there. They also turned on one another, tearing into each other with words. And Chris could see what was happening to them, could see them scratching at bumps like hers. They began to peel and pop on their skin. They growled and snapped at each other, getting nastier and spitting insults like daggers. The buzzing swelled to a deafening cacophony. Ryan turned her eyes back on Chris. You're doing this. You're infecting us. No, Chris commanded over the clamor. We've infected ourselves. The Whispers don't care. They'll attack any of us. I'm not a monster, and neither are you. No one here is. The buzzing dipped. Softer now. We can't keep allowing other people's words to make us one. The last vengeful buzz died. Though the Whispers had died down for now, everyone noticed that a few pitted scars remained on their skin. They each had been marked by each other's words of cruelty and would carry those marks for years to come. They were a reminder that the Whispers would always be there and that whispers can bite. Thank you to all of our patrons. While we do run a limited amount of ads, the show wouldn't be possible without your support. If you want to keep these videos coming, please visit patreon.com/snarled. Want more Something Scary? You can hear more stories over on the Something Scary podcast, available for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. The links are in the description below. If you'd like to submit a story, send me an email at somethingscary@snarled.com. Like and share this video if it gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and turn on the bell for notifications. And if you dare, follow me on social media. Until next time, my dark darlings, sweet dreams.